there. Thank you for joining us today for our panel discussion. I've got the topic today, and I want to introduce you to my amazing friends who are on this panel with me. I have Susan Jarboe, Kathy Cronin, Dr. Kristine Pass, and Karen Downey with me, and I'm Reverend Linda. Before we get into the topic, let's start with a centering prayer. Just take a moment and let go of anything you're carrying in your consciousness, in your lap, that doesn't belong here. Let's take a breath together and turn within. Consciously opening the doorway to our true self, to our divine self, to spirit. God, we are so grateful to be here together right now, to learn together, to laugh together, and to share with anyone and everyone drawn to this video as we explore a way of living. Thank you, God. Amen. So my topic is from Eric Butterworth, Spiritual Economics, and I'm right in the middle of a chapter. If you want to read along and you have the book, I'm on page 16, and I'm reading the bottom of the page. Prosperity is a way of living and thinking, and not just money or things. Poverty is a way of living and thinking, and not just a lack of money or things. Considered in the broadest sense, prosperity is spiritual well-being. This involves the whole experience of healing life, satisfying love, abiding peace and harmony, as well as a sufficiency of what Aristotle called the furniture of fortune. Too often, the tendency is for teacher and student to become so preoccupied with the demonstration. That's too many pages. Hang on. There we go. The demonstration of jobs and bank accounts as to forget that the person as a whole creature in a whole universe. While in this work we are focusing on spiritual economics, we are forever conscious of a backdrop of spiritual ecology, the truth that sets us free from the platform of all human experience. And I'll tell you why this really sang to me, and I wanted to bring it here to the panel. When I started working on a prosperity consciousness, I started hearing the messages I had picked up that actually blocked my highest and best good. For example, I grew up with an awareness from messages given to me by my biological family that if I didn't eat my food, people were going to starve somewhere in the country, and that if I had enough, somebody else had to go without, and that if I had all my needs met, somebody else would suffer. And these kind of messages actually put a block between me and my prosperity. I wanted to have a prosperous, joyous, fulfilling life, but I didn't want to hurt anybody. And I had somehow in my own crazy little mind taken on these messages and made them a part of my spiritual consciousness. And of course, we know in unity truth, capital T truth, that there is more than everyone could ever want or need, that we draw from an unlimited source. But I couldn't draw from that source as long as I believed I was doing harm to somebody else. So that's my topic, and I am so excited to hear from these amazing women, their own thoughts and blocks and how they've overcome them. Who would like to share first?
Thank you, Reverend Linda. I appreciate this. I love Eric Butterworth's writings. There's just so much to it. And his book, Spiritual Economics, is such an opening to understanding that spiritual path. And as you talked about the abundance of, the spiritual abundance, the thought that kept going through my mind was spiritually bankrupt. And when I think about spiritual bankruptcy, it's not about dollars and cents. It's not about money in my bank account. It's about that sense of feeling like you shared, is that there's an abundance about there that, for all people and all things. It's like you don't have to go without because somebody else might be starving. Part of that spiritual path is that might be the path they're choosing or they're walking. But I also sort of see about the spiritual economics is knowing that there's an unlimited source that the universe provides, that we put out there that which we want. And it's not for me, it's not winning that lottery. It's like, okay, I want to be financially well off. It's sort of like, well, you got to buy a ticket to do that if you want to win the lottery. So it's the same thing with anything else on your spiritual path and your spiritual economics. You need to do something to get there. And so the thing is that how am I connected spiritually? And how am I feeling that I have an abundant source, that God is that source, He's ever present? Am I spiritually connected to my truth and higher self? That's the abundance in my life, and that's what generates that that's what manifests that physical abundance. You know, I don't have a desire to win the lottery, even though we keep buying the tickets, because then I feel like I have an obligation. If I win this $1 billion lottery out there, then I feel I have an obligation to do good out in the world, and I wouldn't know who to help first and what not to do. And, so it's sort of like, I just want to go along with what I've manifested in my life through my spiritual path that has, God has graciously blessed me because I followed the spiritual path along the way and done what I needed to do, and I can help those who I can help. But I'm just, it's sort of believing that when I'm not on that spiritual path, and if I'm seeing all the discord that's in the world, or I'm seeing the hostilities and the angers, and I'm focusing on that, I'm in spiritual bankruptcy. I'm not leaving myself open to the good that can be there. And I'm not helping to manifest good when I'm seeing or expanding upon the negative. And so I just feel that part of that spiritual economics that Eric Butterworth brings is that it's our path that we choose to connect with our higher self and our spirituality that can bring that abundance and bring the good into our lives, into those around us, and into the world. And it's sort of like there can be peace in the world if we start talking peace within our own homes. If we talk and have that among ourselves. So right now I'm feeling like I'm verging on spiritual bankruptcy because I'm buying too much into the negative energy that's out there and seeing I'm in the doomsday syndrome. It's like, okay, if I look at history, we are sort of repeating a path of history that's coming, and it scares me that we are going down this path. So now it's like change course and start to believe that changing the energy. And so those are my thoughts on it. It's sort of like I I have to remind myself from what Eric Butterworth's word is like, it is that consciousness that I raise among myself and share with others. If I'm talking about the negative things, then that's what I'm expounding. I'm building on that. If I talk about good will come out of this, then good will come out of it. So that's my thoughts. So thank you so much.
You know, when we talk about the blockages that we have, it's so easy for me to name mine. I have spent my entire life being taken care of. My parents took care of me, my grandmother, my first husband, now my husband Gary. There's always been somebody there who has supplied. And while I have known that I have immense amounts of talent, I always felt like they were talents to be given. And to actually be receiving money for them is, well, I'm still in the new process of this. All of the lovely ladies on the panel know that just today I made the first sale of a new little business I have going. And so it's an exciting thing. Every day I have been saying, it wait a minute, let me get the paper so I can tell you exactly because I don't want to get it wrong. It's easy for me to receive. This comes from Tasha Silver's book, and um, this instruction, that idea that it's easy to receive, sometimes it's not been easy for me to receive. Um, but I have to tell you about a very recent time of receiving, and I hope that it's okay for me to be telling this. Kind of looking at the panelists, waiting to see if she shakes her head yes or no. Okay, so the other day, Linda gave me money, and what she doesn't know is that just prior to her giving me that money, I had eaten my last meal. Didn't have anything else left to eat, nor the money to get anything else. And, um, we've been sitting here. We know we've got some money coming. Um, and, and, you know, as I was talking about, I've got this business that I'm building. And so we knew there was a sale there coming there, and the money was coming in, but it wasn't here yet. And I wasn't panicked, not in the least bit. I ate that meal and thought, whatever's going to happen happens. It's, the supply is going to be there. And this is the first time I've ever experienced that where I've just gone, okay, whatever. I trust in the abundance that exists, knowing that abundance is my true self. Don't have to toil for it, because like the things that I'm doing business wise, I love it. It's so much joy for me. I don't have to toil. I don't have to take part in the hustle culture. I can take part in the true abundance, be part of this prosperous movement. And we do see around us everywhere that people are struggling. But that just means that prosper's rushing in after, because we can't have this vacuum without also having it filled. And on that front, and again, I hope this is okay to say, I'm jumping out here, but Reverend Linda is going to be teaching a class on prosperity soon. So, if you're interested in prosperity, get a hold of the church and find out when she's going to be doing it, because I'm going to be in there with her on this when she's teaching me, and we would love to have you there to join us. So,
I don't prosperity. Enough. I feel very prosperous in my little studio here and my two babies. And it's like I don't watch anything that's negative. So I don't watch anything that's connected in any way to mainstream news because it's fighting, it's putting down, I'm right, you're wrong. It's a drama situation. I have my hand in the cookie jar every friggin' day with what I'm gonna watch. And I'm telling you, I turn on my TV and I only go to YouTube. I don't know that I even have TV. And I mean, I can pick whichever category. I can watch Richard Rohr. I can listen to a book. I I listen to one person that reports information, and it's not political, it's just true information. And then the people that show up, because I don't really know how to do a lot of saving and then, go to this person's site to, you know what I mean, to see what they're doing. Um, I just scroll through. I can see the date that something came up. If it's recent, I can choose it or not. And I listen to information. I love discussions, just like what we're doing here. I mean, it's like I learn something every day, and I don't feel, yes, history's repeating itself. Yes, there's stuff going on, but the one that has to change is me. It's not something outside that's going to change. And I'm not a follower anymore, and I don't belong to any groups, nor do I want to. Because to me, anything that separates puts that block. And I just feel so abundant. It's like I have a choice in everything that goes in. Period. So I don't have to get caught up in the drama. And that's all I know. And I know when I got my big screen, geez, it's probably been 7 or 8 years ago now. And somebody advised me, it now is a good price on this. This will take you out. And it's like, I'm sure I don't know how to operate half of what comes up on that control. And I know I don't. I don't even know how to tape something. I know people tape stuff if they're going to miss watching something or whatever. I don't know how to do any of that. But I'm telling you, I have a choice of everything I watch, and it's so amazing. Um, I don't read a lot, but I listen to books. And it's so amazing. Some of the books that are in my Audible library have, over the last years come up as, like a YouTube thing. Um, and I love it when Carl Jung pops up. The last week, he's done a presentation on cats and he's done a presentation on, oh my God, so many things. And I don't know, I'm just so inspired by the things that I watch. And I'm so inspired also that there's so many secrets coming out because I do believe down deep we're as sick as the secrets we keep. And I learned that early on in 12-step recovery. And I get kind of excited because there's a lot of stuff coming up. Who would have ever thought? And it's like, keep it coming, baby, keep it coming. Now, will whoever, whatever do the changes? That's not under my control. But how I handle me and what I do is under my control totally. And so for today, I feel really abundant and I love my big screen. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, um, I don't have to like pressure myself. Oh my God, you can't sleep. Or oh my God, I went to the bathroom and now I can't get back to sleep. Man, I can just pop something on. I can listen to Richard Rohr. I can listen to this. And then I can turn it off. Now, granted, there's all of that extra electromagnetic stuff going on, but I live in a studio. So I'm not about to unplug everything electrical before I go to bed. I just have to trust that God's going to take care of that for me. And my mom, when she was older, I remember her saying, when I wake up, and she had become a bookhound then and was waiting for a hip replacement. And so I just read. And I hear so many people talking about, getting really upset. I can't get back to sleep. I'm up at 3 a.m. Now and there was a time that like bothered me, but somehow or another, I've adjusted to, hey, if I wake up and I'm not really sleepy right this minute, I can tune on something. I can listen to music. I can listen to the Om. You know, I can zoom down to music and put it on for a minute. There's so many good things to watch, but I'm also single and I live alone. And Angel and Luna really don't care what I do. And they're amused if I happen to be watching something on cats and what the cats are doing. And it's like the sky's kind of the limit. So anyway, thank you for that topic very, very much.
Well, I guess it's my turn. I really liked the phrase spiritual bankruptcy. I hadn't heard that before, but it spoke to me. And one of the reasons it spoke to me is because when I think of the state of the world or the state of our country, I can feel myself being sapped of energy. And so paying attention to the negative, I don't want to ignore it or deny it, but I don't want to be attached to it either. I don't know if you have seen a television commercial that shows four little girls and they're talking about the scrolls and how one of them says, "Oh, I had a case of the scrolls last summer and I missed my birthday." And what it refers to is constantly scrolling so that you are captivated by whatever it is that's on your cell phone. And so this has been kind of a challenge for me. And like Karen, I live alone. I have a big screen TV. I only have one cat, but we're very much alike. And one of the things I learned, I'm switching subjects here a bit. One of the things I learned as a child has to do with that old commandment, thou shalt not covet. And when I was thinking about it, I thought about when I envy someone, it's not that I want to take anything away from them. I just want my own too. And to me, that's different from wanting to deny them whatever it is. I was reminded of a 20th century mystic. I've mentioned him before, Joel Goldsmith. And he's most famous for a book called The Infinite Way. And he has written several books along that line. And it's his contention that a lot of our misery comes from a belief, and that belief is lack. There's not going to be enough to go around. There's not going to be enough to take care of me and my family. And what he says is that belief leads us into all kinds of behaviors, for some people, even unethical behaviors. And whereas if we let go of that belief, we'll be letting go of a lot of our grief. I don't know if any of you are familiar with a musical called Porgy and Bess. It's beautiful and it's very American. And there's a character in it who sings a song, I got plenty of nuttin', and nuttin's plenty for me. And I love that song because he talks about all the people who have all this stuff and they have to lock their doors while they go out and earn more. It's a wonderful, wonderful tune. And well, it's a wonderful, wonderful musical. The last thing I want to comment on is how God brings things into our lives at just the right moment. Unlike Karen, I read a lot. And that's just sort of what I do. And I was talking with a friend about the state of the world and how much it depressed me. And he introduced me to a book. And I don't know if I can show it. Probably not. It's called The Moral Arc, How Science Makes Us Better People. And I don't necessarily recommend it because it's hundreds and hundreds of pages long, but it's the kind of book I like that's well researched with a lot of footnotes and a huge bibliography. And what he points out is he goes through time and actually looks at the statistics on violence of various kinds and so on and so forth. And he proves, statistically speaking, that violence has decreased in our world. Now, to us, it doesn't seem like that because for us, it's right there. And we don't have the perspective of tens of thousands of years to look at what violence was. He says, for instance, he says in the medieval era, a man's chances of being killed were 1 in 5. It's not that way today. And so it's books like this that help me counter negativity that is in so much of our news. And here's another one. This one is called The Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined. And this is by Steven Pinker, who's one of my favorite fellows. He's a psychologist at Harvard. He's written a lot of books on language, which I love. And he's making the same kind of claim. The world is not going to hell in a handbasket, even though all of the news. So I too have to fight off negativity. There are times when I feel spiritually bankrupt. Being a sort of scholar, I turn to other scholars for their points of view. So thank you very much for this subject.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you all for your input on a way of living. Were there any other comments before we close? Okay, then. I would like to thank you for joining us. As always, if there was something in this video that you believe is helpful for someone else, we invite you to share it with them. Send them the link to the talk. It could help them. It could help us too. Any comments that you leave will be reacted to. And if you haven't already subscribed, we invite you to do so. If you're a subscriber, thank you. We appreciate you. And we will end this now. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.